I want to just spend the next 30 minutes talking about auditions. We are going to be facing auditions forever, since day one, until you go even to professional orchestras. And I divide this audition process in three phases: preparation, execution, debrief. First one is preparation. And I think it's really important to remind you that your talent will be measured by your choices, by the type of pieces you pick for that audition, the amount of music you have, and how much all those pieces or those excerpts reflect your skills. It's sometimes better having different passages or contrasting pieces that show how much you can show you the big range of your skills. Sometimes it's better just choosing short pieces that demonstrate that really long pieces, and time those excerpts. If you only get certain amount of time and you spend the first 3/4 of the audition playing something that really doesn't demonstrate all your skills, then you can just wait and ask the panelists to just skip or jump at certain places. So again, preparation, we start with what choices we need to make in order to succeed. Those choices will inform the panelists as to how talented you are to pick something that really demonstrates what you are. Scales. Usually we suggest to have one scale slurred and one scale with a tongue or separated notes, so articulated. All scales need to have a really nice sound, and they need to be consistent and accurate. If you play really fast scales, most of the time it's not so impressive. If you play in a mid-tempo that is consistent, it's the same tempo, every note you are having really nice sound, it's in tune, you don't need to play that so fast. So always, tempo is really good to keep in mind when you're playing scales, but even more important than tempo, sound. The sound production on a scale, it needs to be the best, because you're not just dealing with any other difficulties. It's a scale. So we are expecting from you to play a beautiful scale with a great sound. You have to be prepared to play earlier. You have to be prepared to play 1 or 2 hours later. You have to be prepared to be cut at some point. It might be rainy, snowing that day, your alarm clock didn't wake you up at the right time, you have a phone call that distracted you 1 minute before the audition. Again, there is not such a perfect audition. And it's really good that you start preparing for that. I will recommend that if you're just practicing your audition, you even sometimes set a timer every 3 or 4 minutes, so you get distracted. You can also ask your friends to call you. Hey, can you call me? Or your relatives at home, can you just knock my door at some point? And you have to keep going. You have to keep playing. No matter what is going on your surrounding, you just keep going forward. Before you start playing the audition, you always need to give you a couple of seconds to breathe, focus, and then you start. No excuses, no apologies. Please don't get there. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so nervous. I'm so sorry. My instrument is not doing well. I apologize. I've been sick for last week. What is created at that point, it's a feeling of this is not the right day for this person to audition. How about just like next week or tomorrow or next year? It sounds a little bit drastic, but that's the feeling that as a panelist you sometimes have. Make sure you just like go be yourself. A nice smile is always a good breather. So you have to be greeting people, not only with words, but with your whole aura, with your whole body. So body language is really important. You have to also be prepared to share something about your background and about your artistic perspective. Be ready for those questions. Don't be surprised. Oh, I thought you are not going to be asking me what I think about Tchaikovsky, or what are my vision of music, or do I want to major in music? You might be asked about how well you collaborate with others, and they want to see if you are somebody who is solve problems and issues really easily. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone, no, but okay, that's some person that I can talk to. If you are going to a youth orchestra, you might be asked like, how long have you been playing your instrument? What's your favorite piece? And again, those questions and many others are meant to know you better. That was why I mentioned when you're preparing your audition, you have to be ready to those questions. They can ask you something like, okay, that was a nice piece by Sarasate. What do you think about his other pieces? And if you only know one piece, then that's where you say, okay, maybe that student practiced that piece specifically, but didn't give time to develop a feeling about how that music or that composer needs to be played. So that's why we ask random questions to get to know you better. So be prepared for all those questions. And if they arise, just not having a prepared answer, but being really honest and at least think about them before you get there. Certain things only develop over time. You have to let it marinate. So when you practice for a long period of time, there are certain things that will start to get mature by themselves. Don't say, I'm having an audition in a week, and there are certain things you won't be able to accomplish despite your fantastic technique or musicality. Give the music time to develop. Preparation needs to make you really solid musically, rhythmically. You have to understand what the music is about. And when you start playing your audition, everyone at the panel, they have to understand, you know, where the music goes and what type of sound that music requires. Have a really good, solid preparation in order to have a successful audition day. And when you're practicing for that audition, every time you get to fast notes, imagine you're slowing down just for yourself, and that helps you slow down the music. Despite those goals, the notes go fast, so you have the feeling that you have more time to play. The excerpts need to be convincing, at the same time need to be unique and authentic. If you try to just copy what you look online or exactly what your teacher tell you to do, it might not be fully taken from the panelists. It doesn't mean you have to be over creative. Two things we have to keep in mind: the body language and the body posture, and how much is really relaxed but really heavy. That's some concept that we have to develop clearly, is that your posture, your body is really heavy. If that becomes really heavy, that means you are relaxed. The opposite way, if you say be relaxed and your arms are really light, that means they are not relaxed. You have to feel them really heavy, and then when they are heavy, oh, they are relaxed. Same way, when you have your pets at home and you see your dog is sleeping, and you try to hold that dog, or even babies are really heavy because they don't have tense muscles, they just relax, especially when they are sleeping. We were at the preparation phase, and right now we arrive at the execution, which is the day of the audition. It's really important we stay hydrated, we eat healthy that day. Bananas are really good. They have a lot of potassium. Just go directly to your energy. If you eat chocolate, it takes so long. By the time you get some energy, it's gonna be probably a couple of hours later. Get something really healthy, not heavy, so you feel really good. If something is not right in yourself, it's gonna affect how much you can focus on your music and all things you have to focus on. So you're gonna be playing in a place that has a better or worse acoustic than you're used to have at home. You're having people watching you, a different space, and you're gonna be distracted by so many different factors. You have to be ready to execute, to play with different things happening. Dress comfortably. Something that is comfortable, but at the same time, keep your focus on music as well as for the panelists. The energy you have when you go into the audition has to be authentic, easy, and really speak from yourself, from what you are. It doesn't mean you have to act. It doesn't mean you have to overdo things. The first impression is really important. Placement audition for a youth orchestra, or a position at a professional orchestra, or a college audition, or sitting audition. All auditions just apply the same. And those panelists are always thinking, I want this person to succeed. But don't be surprised by how they react, because also the panelists are nervous because they are just thinking, okay, I want the best for this candidate to happen right now. And sometimes their faces might be like these type of faces trying to tell you, do your best, but sometimes you might see some faces like really like, and it's not like they're saying, no, I want this candidate to fail. They are also nervous. Think that all those panelists just want to hire you if you are going to a professional orchestra. They all want you to accept you in this youth orchestra. They all want you to win that competition. But sometimes they have to make decisions. And those decisions are informing how well you prepare yourself for the audition day. So we are still on the audition day. And remember, you don't have to make adjudicators happy. You don't have to really please them on, okay, I know this adjudicator wants to hear this. You have to make them follow you. If your music is so focused and so driven by the music itself, then they will follow you. If they follow you, they know, okay, we can have a new musician that work. Youth orchestra, in our professional orchestra, this is the soloist I want for my orchestra. Only some of them have the blind auditions. Gives a little different taste because you, as a panelist, you can't see them. By the end of the day, they are just driven by how much you are able to focus on your music and show that you know where the music is going. If you get sight reading in your audition, those sight reading excerpts will be most likely built or composed for your instrument. If you play a horn, most likely you won't get any except for the flute. So you're gonna get probably just a solo or an excerpt for your instrument. It's not a promise, but most of the sight reading pieces we pick as panelists, those are taken from your own instruments. Despite you might miss a flat or a sharp or some rhythm was not perfectly there, the sound of your instrument has to be full. If your sound is really good, and if your rhythm was good, not perfect, but good, and then you missed a couple of notes, it's fine. If we don't see that you know where the music goes, if you don't see that you have an understanding of those rhythms or rhythmical patterns, then we might say, okay, maybe he or she is not ready yet for whatever audition you're taking. The audition day, it's informing what you worked during preparation. It's not something new. It's exactly that. The panelists want to hire you, want to get you in their orchestras. You just have to do everything you've been doing in your preparation time. If you got accepted, enrolled, or you just succeeded in your audition, you just forget about it. But guess what? You're gonna have lots of auditions in your life. So don't forget the brief phase. That time you spent after the audition reflecting about how it went and what things you need to do better next time at the preparation phase or at the execution day, those are things that are going to help you in the future, because it's really hard to remember those things weeks later. Right after the audition, you get back home and you practice again all excerpts and everything you did. Not to say, oh my gosh, I made so silly mistakes. No, it's just to understand where they came from. Keep learning. If I wasn't so solid in rhythms, was that because I maybe was wearing some heels that made me unstable, and then the rhythms weren't as accurate? Okay, so next time, just changing your shoes will make you perform way better. What things I did well, and I have to keep doing them, and what other things you need to adjust for next time. The brief phase is really important, believe me. You can just do wonders during your preparation. Your audition day was fine, but then if you didn't reflect how it went, then you're missing a huge opportunity of improvement for next auditions to come. And you never know when they are. I had recalled a student in an orchestra in the Colombian Youth Philharmonic. He was fantastic violinist. He auditioned, he got into the first violin of that orchestra. When he did that audition, he was just thinking, okay, I just go do an audition. And he was placed in first violins, and that's it. Halfway during the residency, we were playing Mendelssohn Concerto with Joshua Bell. Joshua Bell was our soloist for that tour. We found out that he wasn't able to stay another day for a run-out concert we had. A couple of days before Joshua Bell arrived, we also think, okay, we need to rehearse this piece, and it would be great to have a soloist. So when Joshua Bell, we have the orchestra ready. Then Julian, my good friend violinist, he said, oh, I played, and he did it. It was fantastic. Then we said, you know what? You should play this run-out concert. Joshua Bell is not staying. We should just play this concerto again. You deserve this opportunity. He got it, and he had no idea when he signed up for that audition for that youth orchestra, he will be playing as a soloist with the National Orchestra. All auditions prepare you really well for next audition. Thank you guys for being here. See you next week. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Practice.
Thank you.